Every weekday morning, your street wakes up before the sun. Garage doors open, coffee cups fill, cars disappear one by one. By 8:15, the neighborhood is almost silent, except for one house, yours. The curtains open. You make coffee, water the plants, read for an hour, then sit on your porch watching everyone rush to work. Across the street, your neighbor glances over. He has done it hundreds of times every morning. He has reached the same conclusion every single day. That guy doesn't have a job. He's half right. You don't have a job. You retired 6 months ago. You're 34 years old, and almost nobody believes it's possible. Not your neighbors, not your parents, not even your closest friends, because nothing about your life looks rich. Your car is 9 years old. Your house is comfortable but ordinary. Your clothes come from the same stores they've always come from. There are no designer watches, no supercars, no mansion hidden behind gates. From the outside, you look like someone who's struggling, but every Tuesday morning, while the neighborhood empties, money quietly arrives. A deposit from a self-storage facility, another from a small commercial cleaning company, rental income from 2 warehouse units, a quarterly dividend payment. Nobody claps, nobody notices. The notifications appear, then disappear. Your day continues. Most people think retirement is an age. Economists think differently. Retirement simply means your assets produce enough income to replace your labor. That's all. You didn't retire because you were old. You retired because your cash flow stopped depending on your calendar. That distinction changes everything, but it didn't happen overnight. 10 years earlier, you were sitting exactly where your neighbor is now, stuck in traffic, watching the clock, waiting for Friday. Like millions of other people, you believed wealth meant earning a bigger salary. Then one conversation quietly changed your life. Your manager had just received a promotion. Everyone congratulated him. Bigger office, higher salary, longer hours. You smiled with everyone else. Then something strange happened. 2 weeks later, he canceled his family vacation, not because he wanted to, because the company needed him. That afternoon, you realized something uncomfortable. The higher someone climbed, the harder it became to step away. The promotion looked like freedom from the inside. It looked more like responsibility. That thought stayed with you for weeks, then months. Eventually, it became a question. If successful people still couldn't control their time, what exactly were they becoming rich for? That question led you into a world most people never explore. Balance sheets, cash flow statements, small business acquisitions, rental income, dividends, royalties. You noticed something surprising. The wealthiest people weren't always earning the biggest salaries. Many of them owned systems. Businesses kept operating after they went home. Buildings generated rent while they slept. Investments produced income whether they checked their phones or not. Their money had learned how to work without asking permission. For the first time, you stopped asking, "How can I make more money?" Instead, you asked, "How can money stop needing me?" Those two questions sound similar. They produce completely different lives. You didn't quit your job. Not yet. Instead, you started studying businesses nobody talked about. Self-storage, laundromats, commercial cleaning, mobile billboard advertising, equipment rentals. They weren't exciting. That was exactly what attracted you. Every industry solved an ordinary problem. People always needed storage. Buildings always became dirty. Businesses always rented equipment. The demand wasn't glamorous. It was dependable. Wall Street often rewards exciting stories. Real wealth often grows inside boring ones. Your first investment wasn't a stock. It wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't an app. It was a used pressure washer. You bought it for $850. Every Saturday morning, you cleaned driveways. It wasn't glamorous. Your friends spent weekends at bars. You spent yours removing years of dirt from concrete. After 3 months, the machine had paid for itself. Twice. That's when something clicked. The pressure washer wasn't making money. Ownership was. You bought a second one, then hired someone to operate it. For the first time, money arrived from work you didn't personally do. It wasn't much, but it changed how you thought forever. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler often wrote about how people mentally categorize money. Most people value earned income above all else because they watch themselves work for it. Passive income feels different, not because the dollars change, because the relationship changes. Every dollar earned without trading another hour creates a new possibility. One by one, you replaced pieces of your paycheck. First the internet bill, then groceries, then your car insurance, then your mortgage. Each asset quietly removed another monthly expense from your salary. You weren't becoming rich overnight. You were becoming harder to scare. That distinction matters. Psychologists have found that financial stress affects far more than bank accounts. It changes sleep, decision-making, relationships, even physical health. As your dependence on one paycheck declined, something unexpected happened. Your confidence increased, not because your balance grew, because your fear shrank. At work, nothing looked different. You still arrived before 9. You still attended meetings. You still smiled politely when someone said, "Thank God it's Friday." But inside, the countdown had already begun, not toward retirement, toward independence. 3 years later, your passive income matched your salary. 1 year after that, it exceeded it. You waited another 18 months before resigning. Your manager looked confused. "Where are you going?" You smiled. "Home." He laughed. "No, seriously, you realized something. Many people understand quitting. Very few understand no longer needing a paycheck. 6 months later, your neighbors began noticing. Every weekday, your car stayed in the driveway. Rumors quietly spread. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you're freelancing. Maybe you're living off your wife. You never corrected them. Not because it was a secret, because it didn't matter. One afternoon, an old coworker stopped by. "I heard things have been rough." He handed you a business card. "If you're looking for work, let me know." You thanked him. After he left, a notification appeared. Your businesses had deposited more than your old monthly salary before dinner, without a meeting, without a commute, without asking anyone for permission. You weren't laughing at him. You remembered being him, believing the only way to earn more was to work more. The biggest shift wasn't financial, it was philosophical. Society teaches people to build careers. Almost nobody teaches them to build systems. A career can produce an income. A system can continue producing long after you're gone. Neither is inherently better, but they solve different problems. One buys today's lifestyle, the other buys tomorrow's freedom. There is a reason many financially independent people keep ordinary houses, ordinary cars, ordinary routines. Because once your life no longer depends on impressing anyone, status becomes surprisingly expensive. Freedom becomes surprisingly cheap. This story isn't about retiring young. It's about redefining what retirement actually means. It isn't an age. It isn't a beach. It isn't doing nothing. It's reaching the moment when your time is no longer sold by the hour. This story is about behavioral finance, business ownership, and financial independence. It isn't financial advice, and it isn't a promise that early retirement is possible for everyone. Tomorrow morning, your neighbors will leave for work again. You'll wave as they drive away. Some of them will wonder why you're still home. None of them will notice the deposits arriving while your coffee gets cold. And perhaps that's the strangest part. The richest freedom isn't having everyone know you've escaped the rat race. It's quietly realizing you no longer have to run with it.